Hello everyone, this is the Urdu Free Thinker. In this two-part video series, we will uncover and understand the Qur'an's concept of the universe and cosmology. Muslims often claim that the Qur'an is a miracle and the indisputable word of God, the all-knowing creator of the universe. If that is indeed the case, the expectation for this book is quite high. It must stand the test of time and not contradict basic facts about the Earth, the solar system, and beyond. In this brief discussion, it will become clear that the author of the Qur'an portrayed a concept of the universe that was well known during that period of time. And it, in fact, is following a model that was well accepted even in the ancient times, the geocentric model of the universe. The geocentric model of the universe was widely accepted when the Qur'an was written. In fact, it was only in the late 16th century that geocentrism was challenged by Nicholas Copernicus, who proposed the first coherent model of a heliocentric or sun-centered universe. In the geocentric model, the Earth is at the center of the universe, surrounded by heavenly layers that contain the moon, the planets, the sun, and stars that orbit the Earth. One famous example of the geocentric model is the Ptolemaic system that was proposed by the Greek astronomer Claudius Ptolemaeus. But the geocentric model was widely accepted well before him, even before Aristotle, due to the works and philosophies of ancient Mesopotamian, Babylonian, and Hellenistic astronomers. As you can probably see, the outer planets like Uranus and Neptune are missing from the Ptolemaic model because they had not been discovered at that time. Anyways, that's besides the point. Let's go back to the Qur'an. As we shall soon discuss, the Qur'an mentions and validates geocentric notions that were considered facts by its 7th century audience. It doesn't really offer anything new. The Qur'an, however, does provide a slightly different model than the Ptolemaic system. It offers a more ancient model, as we shall see. It is important to note that it does not provide a concept of the universe that was very deviant for that time, but in fact it describes the prevailing notions in detail, the only difference being that the Qur'an gives credit to its one God, Allah. The Qur'an describes the universe by the Arabic phrase as-samawat wal-ard, which literally translates to the heavens and the earth. This is the phrase that is synonymous to the universe in the Qur'an. وَلِلَّهِ مُلْكُ السَّمَوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. And to Allah belongs the dominion of the heavens and the earth. لِلَّهِ مُلْكُ السَّمَوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا فِيهِنَّ. To Allah doth belong the dominion of the heavens and the earth, and all that is therein. وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا السَّمَوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ وَمَا بَيْنَهُمَا فِي سِتَّةِ أَيَّامٍ. And we did certainly create the heavens and the earth and what is between them in 6 days. The verses above highlight how the Qur'an views the universe. It is, indeed, the heavens and the earth. That is it. Throughout the Qur'an, the phrase heavens and the earth represents the entirety of material existence. All the matter, every creation that exists, are contained within the confines of the heavens and the earth. If this is not obvious to you already, I hope in the next few minutes it will be. أَوَلَمْ يَرَى الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَنَّ السَّمَوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ كَانَتَا رَتْقًا فَفَتَقْنَاهُمَا. Do not the unbelievers see that the heavens and the earth were joined together before we clove them asunder? Again, according to the Qur'an, the universe is consisted of 2 main components, the heavens and the earth. The Qur'an describes the separation of these 2 objects as the initiating event of creation. Some modernist interpreters of the Qur'an, like Zakir Naik, and a multitude of others, have attempted to portray the verse 2130 as evidence of Quranic support of the Big Bang. This claim can be easily refuted if one closely examines the Arabic grammar, as we shall do now. Let's look at this verse again. The word fataknahuma consists of a past verb, fataka, which means to cause a separation, to create a gap, or to part. This verb is joined by a personal pronoun, na, which means we, which signifies the doer of the action, God. Fatakna is then joined by another pronoun, in this case, huma. This could translate as them in English, but it really signifies only two objects. It signifies duality. In this case, the heavens and the earth. So huma is a pronoun that is the object of the verb, but it only signifies two objects. In Arabic, pronouns, nouns, and verbs can either be singular, dual, or plural. In this case, huma signifies duality. Hence, the entire word fataknahuma means we separated the two. If this is indeed the description of the Big Bang, it is quite an erroneous one. The Big Bang did not result in the creation of two separate objects, but trillions and trillions of new matter particles. In fact, matter did not exist before the Big Bang. The Big Bang did not happen as a separation of Earth from the heavens, as the Qur'an says, but all of matter and the very fundamental laws of physics came into existence after the Big Bang. The Earth is incredibly insignificant when compared to the vastness of the universe. But clearly, the author of the Qur'an was unaware of this very important fact. Now, some of you are going to accuse me of being a grammatical literalist, that I'm being too strict on my grammar, that this verse is metaphorical and it does not really mean that the Qur'an literally talks about a heaven and the earth as two separate objects, but it is figurative. Hold on a second. What if I told you that this is not a new concept? This is not metaphorical because this was a common belief of the time for thousands of years, even before Islam. Interestingly, the verses already mentioned reiterate one of the most widespread and common creation myths that were believed in the ancient and medieval times. For example, the Sumerian cuneiform tablets excavated from modern-day Iraq, like Song of the Hoe, show how ancient Mesopotamians viewed the universe in 3rd millennium BC. In Song of the Hoe, the Sumerian creation story is mentioned. The earth goddess, Ki, was united with her spouse An, the god of the sky. They remained united until they had a son, Enlil, the god of the air, who separated the two for eternity. And this is how, according to ancient Mesopotamians, the heavens and the earth were forever separated, just like the Qur'an. Also, ancient Egyptians believed that Nut, the goddess of the sky, was separated from her husband Geb, the god of the land, by the deity Ra. And this is how the ancient Egyptians believed that the heavens and the earth were separated. Similar mythologies are also found in ancient Greece. Uranus, god of the sky, and Gaia, goddess of the earth, separated after Cronus, their son, decided to cut off his father's testicles. Now let's go back to the same verse. This verse, interestingly, starts with the phrase, "Don't the unbelievers see?" As if the unbelievers are already aware of this truth or fact, but are ignoring the Creator. This theme is very common in the Qur'an, where the Qur'an reiterates common facts believed by its audience at that time, and then chastises the unbelievers for not giving Allah the credit for it. The Qur'an is only emphasizing monotheism. So far, we have discussed how the Qur'an compares to the ancients of the Near East, that used myths about the separation of the heavens and the earth to explain the prevalent notions regarding the creation of the universe. A united heaven and earth, each manifested by a particular deity, were separated in the act of creation. The author of the Qur'an was no different. Although the Qur'an does not endorse polytheism, it reiterates the same notion that the audience of the Qur'an was familiar with in the 7th century. The only difference here is that instead of many gods, now there's only one. In this video, we discussed how the Qur'an implies that the earth is an important component of the universe. Little did they know, however, that the earth is not the focus, but only a tiny speck in the vastness of space.